Hi everyone, my name's John. Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk about a book that I read for Historathon quarter two, in which we read anything and everything from 500 CE to 1500 CE. And I also read this with my great Historathon Discord friend, Angie. We read Ravenna, Capital of Empire, Crucible of Europe by Judith Herrin. And since there's really no other place in the video where I can show you these wonderful plates, there's lots of full color plates in here too, which I love. But if you stayed awake through your early Byzantine art history class, you may remember the words Ravenna and San Vitale, the city and the church, respectively, where the stunning mosaics displaying the Emperor Justinian and his wife, the Empress Theodora, are located. They ruled during the middle of the 6th century, at the height of a 350-year period during which Ravenna served as kind of a liminal space between the old Western Roman Empire and the burgeoning Byzantine Empire in the East. There may be no one better qualified today to write the sweeping history of Ravenna, from the death throes of the old Rome to the rise of Charlemagne, than Judith Herrin, who has made an entire life's work of Byzantine culture and civilization. Ravenna, Capital of Europe, Crucible of Empire. Did I? In the review, I said Capital of Europe, Crucible of Empire. I need to go back and fix that. Anyway, it came out from Princeton University Press in 2020. So it's a few years old, but I've had it around for a while. I think I bought it at one of the Princeton University Press book sales a couple of years back and just had never read it. It packs a lot of history into just 400 pages. There are centuries here that get precious little attention in books for the general reader in other places, if you get them in other places at all. Even though these years are really crucially important in setting the stage for how Europe will look in the coming centuries, in the early Middle Ages and High Middle Ages. Late antiquity is written about, when it's written about at all, in the language of decline and decadence. It's a hard language to avoid, considering the growing political instability, the administrative overextension, and the slow incursion of barbarian tribes that characterized it. But it was also a time of rich synchronicity between Roman, Gothic, and Byzantine traditions. Ravenna was geographically situated at the intersection of the Western Roman Empire, Ostrogothic Italy, and the papacy that would eventually give the Carolingian world the shape it took on. Under siege from the Visigoths and Alaric, Emperor Honorius moved the Roman capital to Ravenna in the year 402. Its marshes and lagoons made it hard to attack by land. It had strong fortifications, and its proximity to the Adriatic Sea gave it opportunity for trade and communication with the rest of the Mediterranean world. While Rome retained symbolic importance, Ravenna became an increasingly important center for politics. But the move itself was already kind of a defensive measure. I mean, it showed the bad spot that Rome was in, that it needed to move at all. Barbarian federates entered imperial service, tax systems foundered, and military authority shifted to non-Roman generals. Key figures covered during this first part of the book are the Emperor Theodosius, his daughter Galla Placidia, who's really one of the book's standout figures, I think, and the general Stilicho. Galla Placidia gets judicious and really smart treatment from Herrin as a politically astute ruler who helped sponsor early Christian architecture and tried to stabilize the Western Empire. She was the daughter of one emperor, the consort of another, and the mother of still a third. And she lived a life that showed royal women were not just dynastic brokers or royal pawns, but that they were tastemakers and religious patrons and wielders of considerable amounts of power. Theodoric, who was the king of the Ostrogoths from 471 to 526 and the king of Italy from 493 to 526, who spent a decade in Constantinople as a hostage and political ward, came to rule over a highly hybrid empire. He was intellectually and politically ambitious. He encouraged cooperation between Roman aristocrats who were Catholic Christians and Goths who were Arian Christians. And he tried to preserve what was left of Roman administration and sort of patch what he could. Under the general Belisarius, Justinian recaptured Ravenna in 540, soon after which San Vitale was built, where Justinian memorialized himself and his wife, that's Empress Theodora, as the ultimate symbols of early Byzantine political theology that illustrated the marriage of imperial and sacred authority. The rise of Islam, the Arab conquests, and the prominence of the Lombards eventually reshaped the Mediterranean world in the, 6th and 7th centuries, ultimately weakening and marginalizing Ravenna as the political cynosure of the region. While Ravenna's period as a Byzantine exarchate ends officially in 751, it finally loses whatever symbolic power it might have had when Charlemagne was officially crowned Holy Roman Emperor on Christmas Day in the year 800, and officially moves his court to Aachen in Germany. Herrin is not a big fan of the phrase late antiquity, since it emphasizes the idea of decline. The whole point of the book is to avoid that idea of senescence and decline and death. Instead, she opts for another term, and she uses early Christianity. She would know she wrote the seminal book on it, The Formation of Christendom, in 1987, which I have. It's in a column of books right to the left of me, but I don't want them to go tumbling, so I won't pick it up and show it to you, but I have an older copy of it. It's a shift in terminology from late antiquity, which, by the way, I think is it Peter? Who's responsible for late antiquity? The guy who wrote the famous biography of Augustine, whose name is skipping my mind, Peter something. So the change from late antiquity to early Christianity is a shift in terminology that casts the period in a different light, obviously. It's one of doctrinal disputes and iconoclasm and papal ambitions and monastic developments where Arians and Catholic Christians and Chalcedonian and Byzantine orthodoxies engage in these ever more subtle theological disputes. There's more history than most people can take on here in a single read. A lot of very subtle moves, and just time-wise, I mean, it's 350 years. It's a lot of time. Ravenna becomes the capital, and then Theodoric's Ostrogothic kingdom, and Justinian's Byzantine reconquest of it, and then the Exarchate, and the Lombards, and Charles Martel, and the Carolingian Empire. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. Like I said, the power shifts and the theological disputes and the full color plates also which I'm easily distracted by. You can get lost for hours just looking at the color plates. The vast amount of time that's covered in the book can make it kind of intimidating, but it's something I think that I would go back and read again, and if not a third time. Judith Herrin has spent a lifetime reading, writing, teaching about Byzantine art, history, religion, politics. She is the person to write a book like this. The result is a book that's always interdisciplinary, just like her career has been. Not only does she present the religious and imperial history of Ravenna, but she sprinkles in short discussions of intellectual, artistic, and cultural history too, like her short little disquisitions on Cassiodorus or the anonymous Ravenna cosmography. What she might be best on is how, from Justinian to Charlemagne, art, architecture, and visual culture, which she's really, really sharp on, even though she's not an art historian, developed together with imperial practice, which is fundamental to understanding how the Middle Ages developed. Being largely a time where the vast majority of people who weren't members of churches couldn't read, you learned and you remembered through iconography, through what you saw in church and what you saw in cathedrals. Paintings and depictions of rulers and kings and bishops were how you came to learn about power. And if you can shape how you are portrayed in those pieces of art, you have a tremendous advantage in shaping your own power. She's also a fantastic storyteller. She's not the type of historian to hold your hand at all. She wants you to be as entranced with her subject as she is. She's rigorous, she's detail-oriented, she's interested in putting each of the little tesserae of the Byzantine mosaic of Byzantine history in place so you can finally see not just a picture of Roman desuetude, but of cultural hybridity and growth and conflict and dynamic change and everything she wants you to see it as. And it is really, really worth the effort. I gave this book, for anyone who cares about such things, 5 stars. I thought it was spectacular. There needs to be more attention paid to that sort of span of time between the fall of the West and the rise and prominence of the East. And this book covers that time period very, very well. This is Ravenna, Capital of Empire, Crucible of Europe by Judith Herrin. I will see you soon with another video. Bye.